Good evening, everyone. Welcome in to Vol Society Live on another Wednesday night. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vol Society Analyst right here on this Vol Society Network. Tennessee coming off a bye week, and now we focus our attention on the Kentucky Wildcats. We're going to dive into that game tonight. We're also going to talk about Harrison Bailey entering the transfer portal. We kind of touched it on our Facebook page throughout the week. By the way, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. But we're going to kind of dive into more about Harrison Bailey entering the transfer portal here tonight. We will also talk about, like I said, obviously the Kentucky game and kind of where Tennessee is going to go as we are in, believe it or not, the final month of the regular season of college football. November is a time to remember. Can Tennessee finish strong as we head into this final month and as we got a huge game coming up Saturday against Kentucky? A little light here. There we go. Also, don't forget to leave your comments or your questions on our chat rooms, whether you're watching us tonight on Facebook Live or you're watching us on YouTube. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also, we are on Twitter at Society Vol. All right, we got all that taken care of. Let's go ahead and just talk about this. We'll talk about the Alabama game first, and then we'll dive into Harrison Bailey. Then we'll jump into Kentucky, and then other Vols news and notes going on as we kind of wind the show down. And, of course, always, please continue to leave your questions and comments, and we will answer away. And welcome, everyone, tuning in, my grandparents. And, let's go ahead and dive into it. So, Tennessee coming off a loss 2 weeks ago to Alabama. Like I said, I think for the first half, it was kind of an eye-opening experience of how far this Tennessee team has come from really the last several years compared to what we saw last week or 2 weeks ago. It feels like it's been last week. But 2 weeks ago when we played Bama. Like I said, I thought Tennessee, for what limited players they had, and, we talked about it on our Alabama preview show. It's like, do you want to rest these guys and save up for Kentucky because we know the bye week is coming up, or do you go all in and play some players? And I believe this coaching staff had this team ready to play, as far as what was going to happen. And Kevin says, nope, I knew it was coming. Okay. Okay. So asking about Harrison Bailey. Yeah, we'll talk about Harrison Bailey here in a minute. But I thought for what players were available, we went out there and we made it a game, and it was an entertaining game for the most part. Tennessee, like I said, did a very nice job as far in the first half, just being competitive, and made Alabama force some mistakes. But, Alabama has been there, done that for many, many years with Nick Saban. He's been in these crucial situations, and he's already taken his loss this year to Texas A&M, and that he was not going to roll over to Tennessee. And like I said, it just the fourth quarter was just kind of ugly for the most part. And it was just, like I said, just kind of unfortunately the final score did not reflect of how the game went on. So Bama's out of the way, and then you go into the bye week. And then on the bye week, we found out, not really shocking news, but unfortunately the timing hurt us, and that is Harrison Bailey announced he was entering the transfer portal. We're already getting some comments about Harrison Bailey. A lot of people not really shocked, including myself. And we kind of mentioned this on Vol Society Live and, on our Vol Society Network pages. He's a great talent, highly recruited, wanted to come to Tennessee, and he did. It just, unfortunately, with being with Jeremy Pruitt, that just never the cards never came into place. And, of course, there's some controversy with that. But now you remove Jeremy Pruitt, you bring a brand new coaching staff in with Josh Heupel, who runs a very up-tempo, fast style, and Tennessee is number one in the nation as far as plays per minute. We were like at running 3 plays per minute. We kind of dipped down to like 2.89, but it's still pretty fast. And it just seemed like we were, we started the season with 5 scholarship quarterbacks, and now we are down to 2. It just shows you how crazy this college football season comes about. And we kept hearing during summer camp, Harrison Bailey was the number 3 starting quarterback behind, Joe Milton, who was the number 1 starter, and Hendon Hooker. And we were like, wait, why is Harrison Bailey number 3? I mean, kid's a 4-star. Some people rate him a 5-star quarterback. Why is he not seeing the field? And then once we kind of saw the offense we run, and we saw a little bit with Harrison Bailey under Jeremy Pruitt's schemes, which obviously it wasn't much of a scheme. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, and it's like, I just don't know if it would fit his style. And you look at what Hendon Hooker has done with this offense, who's, just after Joe Milton's injury, we saw what Hendon Hooker's done, and he has just won over the fan base and the coaching staff and has done a great job so far. And it's just we just kind of knew that Harrison Bailey just was not going to see the playing field. And, some people say, well, Joe Milton does this and Joe Milton does that. And I get it. Joe Milton's not the quarterback we thought he was when he came to the transfer portal at Michigan. And, it would be easy to say, well, here you go, Harrison Bailey. But it's all about fitting the scheme, I think. And it just seemed like just didn't have it. Not really much of a mobile quarterback. And, I wish him nothing but the best. Like I said, the other top point, anyways, what I'm trying to say, is the timing. And it's like, do you wait till the end of the year? Brad, our founder, who's in the chat room tonight, monetizing it, he thought that he should have waited to the end of the season. I kind of agree with that, because I know Jason Swain, who has a very popular show in the Knoxville area, kind of called Harrison Bailey out and said he quit on his team. He quit on his brothers, and some ball fans have echoed that. And it's very interesting, the timing that it took place with Harrison Bailey now leaving the program, because now you're looking at a situation, and God forbid you don't want this to happen, but if Hendon Hooker goes out and Joe Milton can't go, who you go now for a 3rd string quarterback? Because I know you probably got some redshirt freshmen on there, but it's the timing of it really stinks. And now with the transfer portal, it's a love-hate relationship for the most part, because the one thing I love about the transfer portal is it's helped a lot of schools out this year to rebuild faster, including us. We've seen it with Hendon Hooker. Tyjon Evans, of course, he came from the JUCO ranks, but he's really contributed to us. Caleb Trimley on the defensive line. Chase McGrath, our kicker, has done a great job, and on and on and on. Brandon Turnage won SEC Defensive Player of the Week for the South Carolina game. And it's helped us out, and it's helped other schools out. But it's also, you have players that now, like, well, I'm not going to play. The easy way out is the transfer portal. And I don't blame a kid if they think they could find another school or another team they can play for. But the timing of it is now just kind of like, well, if I'm not on the field, I'll just go right now and start my recruiting up. And it's just it's kind of interesting to see how this works. And it's going to be interesting to see if, like, the NCAA or maybe some of these conferences maybe put an implicate on the transfer portal, like a dead period. Or, I heard there was like a dead period in the summer, which to me doesn't really make sense. But maybe throughout the season, kind of have a dead period as far as hitting the transfer portal, and at least kind of keeping guys, even if they're not going to be with y'all the next year. So that's kind of the situation, and like I said, here at the Ball Society Network, we wish nothing but the best for Harrison Bailey. We hope he finds a school and an offense that fits his schemes, fits his lifestyle, and he can go and ball out. Same thing with Brian Maurer, and then Caden Slater, who's at Liberty, who's back up to Malik Willis. He actually got to play this past Saturday against UMass. So it's going to be interesting to see, and we wish him nothing but the best. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into Kentucky. We're starting to get some chats about it. No question about it. This is a big game for Tennessee. You know, I predicted at the beginning of the season 6-6, and I thought, you know, I kind of picked, you know, well, this is a win, this is a win, this is a loss, this is a loss. I thought the Kentucky game and the Missouri game were kind of toss-ups, which when we went to Como a few weeks ago, we just destroyed Missouri. And now we're going to Lexington, and, you know, Kentucky had got off to that hot start on the year. They went 6-0, but now they have dropped 2 in a row. Of course, they got handled badly by Georgia. But then last Saturday, they took on Mississippi State in Stark Vegas, and Mississippi State runs a very similar offensive style that we run. Now, they like to throw the ball 60 times a game, and we don't like doing that. We probably like throwing it maybe 30 times, but still, it's a very up-tempo style that's always driving, and Kentucky failed to execute on defense with that. I mean, it was a 31-17 win for Mississippi State. So, and it's kind of interesting that we see Kentucky. You know, this is not the first time they've been in this situation before. I remember in 2019, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, 2018, 2019, when Kentucky had Terry Wilson at quarterback and Beanie Snell at running back and Josh Allen at linebacker, and they got off to that undefeated start and looked like they were going to play in the SEC championship game, and then they ended up losing. I looked it up the other day who they lost to. I think it was Georgia. They lost to Georgia. And then that next week they came to Tennessee. Okay, well, we're going to still go to the Peach Bowl. And we just destroy them at home and completely shut that offense down. Like I said, you know, it's kind of interesting that Kentucky's now got 2 losses because, you know, now they're chomping for a win. But, you know, can they turn that around? And looking at their schedule throughout the year, you know, they blew out Louisiana Monroe. But then they end up they only beat Missouri by a touchdown. They barely squeaked out a win against Chattanooga, and I remember that game very well because that was the same day we played Tech, and I remember most of the fans in the crowd was more concerned about that game than our game. You know, a 6-point win against South Carolina on the road, and, of course, everybody's talking about the Florida game, but now Florida is unraveling right in front of our eyes. That Florida game, to me, doesn't mean nothing as far as a win. And then they blew out LSU, but now they're kind of trickling down. So, can this Kentucky team kind of turn it around? We'll see here. I'll give you my prediction in just a moment. But looking at some of the individual players to watch out for, Will Levis, the quarterback, he's a transfer from Penn State. On the year, it's rushing. Let me go down to passing here. Passing right here. Yeah, Will Levis on the year has over 1,400 yards passing and 14 touchdowns, but he has 9 interceptions. So his touchdown-interception ratio just a little bit above 500. So Tennessee secondary really needs to step up big to force some turnovers. Running the ball, we got Chris Rodriguez Jr., He's leads the team in rushing, 656 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think I'm more concerned about him than probably Will Levis is. So it's going to be quite interesting to see. And then their other running back, Smoke, which we've seen him before. He's second in the team in rushing at 306 yards on the year, but he only has one rushing touchdown. Will Levis also can run the ball a little bit too, so he's probably not a pure dual threat quarterback like we see with Matt Corral and even Bryce Young a couple weeks ago, but Kentucky offense will probably try to exploit that a little bit since Tennessee has indeed struggled with mobile quarterbacks. Switching defensively for Kentucky, Jaquez Jones leads the team in tackles, 64 tackles on the year. Does have an interception to his name, and then just some various other guys that kind of have another 61-yard tackle in Square. Valentine has 43 tackles. So this defense is actually fairly good for the most part. Like I said, but they struggled last week against Mike Leach. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this does. I think Tennessee, for the most part, I'm excited to see how they're going to do bringing everybody back. It's been a week since, Tennessee has played. Time for everybody kind of get healthy, get Hendon Hooker back to 100%, get Tyjon Evans back to 100%. The Mays brothers, I hadn't heard if Cade's going to go. It seems like Cooper's going to be going. Should be interesting to see if they move him back to center because Calvert has done a very nice job taking over Cooper Mays at center. So possibly just throw him on one of the guards, and then hopefully Dane Davis is back somewhat healthy. We've had just kind of a random guys on the offensive line. Dane Davis, who's a walk-on at Tennessee, and I saw that he was a finalist for the award that's named for the walk-on the year. So that's a big accomplishment for Dane Davis and the coaching staff in general, getting a walk-on ready to play and actually contributing and getting some recognition for that. Ollie Lane has played pretty well on that offensive line. Darnell Wright has done a nice job too. So, the offensive line, like I said, it's been banged up and beat up, but they've rise to the challenge when adversity has came their way, and that's very promising to see. Then defensively, like I said, I'm expecting to see, maybe Elijah Simmons gets healthy again. I want to see the linebackers really go after Rodriguez. Like I said, because to me, I think he's the biggest threat for this offense and Smoke. So that kind of a good 1-2 punch combo from Kentucky. Can Jeremy Banks, Aaron Beasley, and even some of the secondary can help out some. Maybe Theo Jackson can get in there or Flowers. Somebody on that secondary can go in there. All right, so I'll go ahead and give you my score prediction. I really like this matchup against Tennessee. I think Kentucky is going to try to come out there and play their best game of the year and try to challenge Tennessee. But Tennessee has had that bye week. Tennessee is also hungry to get a win. And, we talked about, like I said, 6-6 on the year. But after seeing what they did against Missouri a few weeks ago in South Carolina, and then what they've done against Ole Miss and Alabama, despite the losses, Tennessee's now looking at 7 wins. And now I'm on Brad's side. I think we can go 7-5. I'm going Tennessee 45, Kentucky 21. I think this is going to be a nice road win for Josh Heupel. Huge win for Josh Heupel to try to get his first win over an AP top 25 team. And, of course, the first college football playoffs was released on Tuesday, and Kentucky is ranked number 18 to start this, college football playoff rankings, which, by the way, I don't really agree with the top 4, but that's another subject for another day. Brad is going with Tennessee 41, Kentucky 31. So he's expecting more of a shootout than me. But like I said, I think this is going to be kind of similar to the South Carolina game. I could say Kentucky will probably will probably kind of try to hang in there and throw some blows from times. But I really like Tennessee going up there, taking care of business, and getting the win over the Cats. Also, there was some discussion on social media, too, about bringing back the barrel. That's been kind of the hot topic. Oh, Brad says cold weather is why it's close. Yeah, it's supposed to be like 28 degrees up in Kentucky, which is of course, Lexington and Columbia, Missouri is the two coldest climates in the SEC, and that's probably the two places you don't want to be in November. Everywhere else is okay, mild winters. But there was some talk about bringing back the barrel. And for older Tennessee fans and people my age, you remember the orange and blue barrel with the white in the middle, which was called the beer barrel game. And of course, that was dropped in 1998, the week before the Tennessee-Kentucky game, when two Kentucky football players was tragically killed in a DUI crash. So the AD at the time in Kentucky decided to, stop exchanging the trophy out of respect for the individuals. And there's been some discuss, primarily Wes Rucker, who's kind of mentioned in the last several years of should we bring it back, and especially since alcohol sales are now in Tennessee and most of the SEC stadiums. I don't think Kentucky has served it yet, but it's been kind of a discussion too. I'm kind of on the fence with it. I love college football traditions, and the trophy games are cool. If you do bring it back, you almost need to have, you kind of need to reach out for those families, because you don't want to, and I'm not trying to be like a cancel culture person, don't get me wrong, but you also kind of have to be respectful for those families, because, that does bring back some memories of it. So it's interesting to see. Brad says, kind of leave the barrel alone. I'm kind of on the fence with it, but, I can see both sides of it. So it's kind of interesting that it's been kind of a discuss lately, especially this week. And I guess just the nostalgia of it. Kevin's going 56-14 Vols, baby. Probably a stretch, but I hope. That would be very nice. I mean, that would completely knock Kentucky, as far as the discussion for possibly making a big bowl game. And yeah, Brad says it'd be amazing. So like I said, this is a big game for Tennessee coming up. Just with everything, like I said, just Tennessee having the bye week, unfortunately on the 2-game losing streak, but it's kind of one of those you were expecting that too. But now it's, like I said, November is a big month for Tennessee. Like I said, you have Kentucky this week. Next week, you have Georgia coming to Neyland Stadium for a 3:30 CBS game. It's kind of one of those baptism by fires. And then you got 2 easy games with South Alabama and Vanderbilt, both at home. Brad says, what do we have to do to do well to win, David? Penalties is a big one. Like I said, we mentioned this before, like holding calls and pass interference calls are kind of hard to judge from time to time because you're playing aggressively. But like I said, making false start penalties, illegal formations, special teams plays needs to be a big key factor too. Like I said, because you're going into a pretty hostile environment. Like I said, despite Kentucky having a 2-game losing streak, this is a pretty big game. For both schools. Like I said, Kentucky trying to get back on the winning ways. Both teams are actually trying to get back on the winning ways. Both coming with a 2-game losing streak. So must win for both schools. But like I said, for Tennessee, we played some pretty big road games right now. Alabama, Missouri. I'm trying to think if there's another one. I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyways, you kind of know. I know we got 8 home games this year. Brad says Tyron's going to have 150 yards rushing. That would be quite interesting. And like I said, it's going to be a big – this, like I said, I think special teams also needs to be a big key factor. Like I said, just which ties into penalties. And then turnovers, obviously. Like turnovers and penalties is what wins you or loses you a lot, 90% of your games. and you see it week in and week out. But it's going to be very interesting. Plus, Tennessee, like I say, putting up a lot of offense in this one. Let's go look at something for Kentucky really quick. As far as their team numbers go, this was quite interesting too. Everybody's talking about Kentucky's offense on the year. Kentucky is only averaging 191 yards through the air. And, we talk about Will Levis and another transfer portal guy and Robinson, Wandale Robinson, another transfer portal guy for Kentucky. And like I said, Kentucky has really kind of hit the jackpot with the transfer portal, and, they got off to a hot start. Like I said, but they're only, like I said, through the air, they're only averaging less than 200 yards a game. Now, running the ball, they're averaging 175. Brad asked me, who do we look on Kentucky's side? Like I said, I think the running backs, Rodriguez and Smoke, the two top rushers for Kentucky. Like I said, we've faced Smoke the last couple of years. And he's burned us and smoked us, no pun intended, a couple times. I think the running backs is what kind of concerns me too. Like I said, I really want to see our linebackers really snuff them out. We did it before when Beanie Snell was there in Knoxville. I was there. Like I said, I think that's a really big one. And then receiving, receiving, I don't really like how Kentucky has their stats. Wandale Robinson, the leading receiver, he's got 645 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns. So, like I said, another transfer portal guy. Josh Ali, who's been there, feels like for 10 years, he's the second leading receiver on this team. So, I want to see our secondary shut those guys down. Kevin says, I'm 43 and been waiting a long time to get where we were once. Yeah. A lot of all fans echo that same statement. It's just, it's amazing to see just this quick turnaround. Like I said, last year, of course, we all remember the Kentucky game last year was just absolutely an embarrassment, rock bottom performance. But now we've done a complete 180. And like I said, that even though this college football season has flown by these last 10 weeks. We're hitting week 10, but there's been so much that's happened with this program, some good and unfortunately some embarrassing moments from time to time. But like I said, I'm very excited where this team has headed in year one. Like I said, possibility going 7-5 on the year, going to a bowl game and finishing hopefully 8-5 in Josh Heupel's first year. Like I said, Brad says, if Heupel can recruit, I promise you we will be back. And I agree. Like I said, I know a lot of fans are concerned about where we are currently in the recruiting rankings. But like I said, I think Tennessee probably next year will probably do what they did this past year, probably hit the transfer portal quite a bit. Possibly, like I said, you get Jackson coming aboard as a true freshman quarterback. Is Hendon Hooker coming back? I say he will. But you just never know with how kids are. But you got a lot of players, got a lot of good players coming back. But you're also losing some guys too, like Theo Jackson, Matthew Butler, Jeremy Banks. So there's some leaders on that defense, and I'm sure Tennessee is going to probably be aggressive in the transfer portal this year, especially still trying to get some guys for the like I said, to get some recruits in from Knoxville. Vol State, welcome in, buddy. Go Vols. We are going to be Kentucky. I have a lot of faith in Coach Heupel and his team. Yes. So like I said, optimism is getting higher and higher. Yeah. Like I said, Kevin saying, looks fun right now. I play for Tennessee. Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I know I sound like a broken record mentioning this every week, but I'm just loving where Tennessee athletics is right now. I mean, despite, some of the negative media, but, it is what it is. I'm excited just of Tennessee athletics, especially Tennessee football. And it reminds me of a lot of the mid-2000s. And I think I mentioned this in the last show. The mid-2000s at one time you had, Philip Fulmer, Bruce Pearl, Pat Summitt, as far as coaches go. And then you have some great players in Chris Lofton, Candace Parker, Monica Abbott in softball. So, I mean, there was just athletes and great competition and winning ways in Tennessee in the mid-2000s, and even going back to the 90s with Peyton Manning and Todd Helton. And now I think we're starting to see that a new generation come aboard. We saw with baseball with Tony Vitello, the basketball team. I can't wait to talk about Kennedy Chandler, who had an awesome exhibition game against Lenore Ryan. And the Tennessee basketball starts up Tuesday against UT Martin. We'll talk a little bit about that before we go off the air tonight. Thank you, Miss Kay. Appreciate that. It's just, and now with football, and we're seeing guys that I wouldn't say are no names, but definitely weren't household names, now becoming household names. Hendon Hooker, who has a little bit of a Josh Dobbs style to him, and Tyjon Evans is getting some love, and the wide receivers are starting to make plays, and defensive players. Theo Jackson has done a great job. Matthew Butler has emerged as a great leader on this Tennessee defense, and I think we mentioned this on Ball Society Live, but we're actually getting some ex-UT players who wants to come back to Tennessee, and it, like I said, it's interesting to see that. Ball Steak says, "Yeah, Hendon Hooker is the perfect fit for Tennessee." Yeah, I agree. It's a godsend, and like I said, we mentioned transfer portal. I mean, this is just a big gift for us, and how awesome it is to have consistency at the quarterback position. That's what wins you and loses you a lot of games in football. We saw it last year with Garantano, and just a complete 180 when we see it with Hendon Hooker. It's amazing, and I'm sure some Hokie fans probably wish that Hendon Hooker didn't leave that program, but it is what it is. So, yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be a fun game Saturday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Beth Mullins, Kirk Morrison, no relation, and Don Davenport on the call Saturday night. And then after that, we'll shift over to Georgia. We already know it's a CBS game that next Saturday. And then, like I said, hopefully, we'll be talking some bowl games. I can't wait till we finally clinch that 6th win. Hopefully, knock on wood, and we can talk about bowl games, because, like I said, even if we go to the Dollar General Bowl or whatever, just compared to where we were last year to this year, it's just a remarkable turnaround, especially with year one with Josh Heupel. Like I said, he's obviously not going to get no votes for SEC Coach of the Year, but definitely Tennessee has probably been the biggest overachievers this college football season. I was watching a little bit of Michigan State, and you look at what year 2 for Mel Tucker has done in East Lansing, and, they're undefeated, and they're in the top 4 of the college football playoffs, and that gets me very optimistic about next year. Like I said, Michigan State, they had some talent whenever they're for several years there, and Mel Tucker takes over, and first year was kind of average at best, but now it just overachieves, and they run a very fast tempo offense. Of course, he's a defensive guy. And it really makes me optimistic to see how Josh Heupel can do in year 2. And like I said, of course, the schedule's already released for next year, and we posted that several weeks ago on Ball Society. I'm excited about playing some of these teams next year. It depends on what the situation with Florida is next year. I'm sure Dan Mullen's probably coming back. But Florida comes to Knoxville next year. I'm sure it's going to be like an Ole Miss type atmosphere. Hopefully the fans will stay calm and cheer respectfully, but loudly and energetic. I'm even excited about going to Baton Rouge next year. Like I said, we know Coach O is not going to be there next year, and who knows who's going to be their coach. I still wait and see, but even going down to Baton Rouge, play LSU next year should be a lot of fun, and even going to Pitt at Heinz Field. Kenny Pickett, he's a super senior, so he'll be in the NFL. Farmer Fran won't be there. Nope. So, but like I said, it's like I said, I know we still got to take care of this year. But like I said, the future for Tennessee football is looking very bright, and it's exciting to see. Like I said, maybe one day they can be a champion. Go Braves, by the way. So glad that I'm still shocked. I haven't sunk in with my Braves winning World Series championship. I'm still kind of on cloud nine, thinking it's a dream all of a sudden. But anyways, real quickly before we head out of here, like I said, thank you for everybody chatting along. Some quick news and notes about Tennessee basketball and soccer. Right, thank you, Brad. Tennessee soccer team, the women's soccer team, we mentioned they won the SEC East Division. Okay, Chad asked me my score prediction for Saturday. Thank you for tuning in, Chad. Tennessee 41. Hang on. Tennessee 45, Kentucky 21. 45-21 Tennessee. Real quick, we mentioned the women's soccer team won the SEC East during the Tennessee bye week. And they're currently in the SEC tournament. They defeated Florida 5-0. So congratulations to the Lady Vols. They are playing Ole Miss tomorrow night. I think it's at 8:30 on the SEC network. And if they win, they will head on to Vols says can't pull for a Georgia team. The Braves, they're champions. That's all good. And I will say this. Difference between an Atlanta Braves hat and Alabama hat. Alabama hat has the mullet. So just keep that in mind. I understand it's a Georgia team. But, yeah. Also, listen to Connor Smith's song, I Hate Alabama, on your streaming music channels. But anyways, lady soccer, they play like I said, if they win tomorrow night, then they will play in the SEC championship on Sunday. And then the men's basketball team, as we mentioned, stomp Lenore Ryan, which we kind of expect. It's an exhibition game. And, it's everybody likes the mullet joke. It's true. Go look it up. You'll figure it out. But, they'll take on UT Martin next Tuesday night as we start college basketball. If you haven't watched our college basketball preview, go back into our Facebook page and our YouTube page in the archives and watch that. Valsay says, "Hope Georgia doesn't win an Natty." I love saying 1980. I know it's kind of funny how, like I said, Atlanta teams are normally cursed in the playoffs, and now, believe it or not, if you want to count Major League Soccer, they've won 2 championships in the last 3 years. Brad says our men's basketball team is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, definitely so. And like I said, Kennedy Chandler had an awesome game Saturday. Like I said, it is Lenore Ryan. But definitely some optimism. Can't wait to watch them play UT Martin. That's going to be next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on the SEC network. Opening night of college basketball. Lady Vols, I believe, are playing an exhibition game either tonight or tomorrow night, and then their season gets underway, I believe, that next week also. So like I said, a lot of sports going on campus at the University of Tennessee. I think volleyball's about to wrap up their season, about to start SEC tournament. Chad asked if Fulkerson was hurt. Yeah, he broke his thumb during one of the practices and didn't get to play Saturday, but according to Coach Barnes, he is ready to go against UT Martin. So Fulky should be okay. I think it was just kind of a sprain and probably didn't want to risk it in an exhibition game, but he's supposed to go Tuesday night. Thank you, Chad, for that. Allstate says Rick Barnes is Kentucky's daddy. Indeed, he is. He has got a lot of wins over Coach Cal. Yeah, that's one of my favorite qualities of being a Vols fan is just watching Kentucky teams lose, whether it's in football, basketball, or baseball. It's always a lot of fun, especially on basketballs. So, yeah. Any other questions before we wrap up? We've gone 40 minutes tonight. Doesn't feel like it. I mean, this has been a lot of fun. Like I said, big month for Tennessee coming up. Football, we mentioned with Kentucky and then Georgia, and then should be smooth sailing with South Alabama and Vanderbilt. But there's still a lot to play for. Like I said, Vols are two wins away from going bowling So, like I said, we're now pushing for seven wins, I guess. Should be. Brian says, let's do a live broadcast at Thompson Bowling Arena this year. Who wants to see that? That'd be awesome. Like I said, I mean, one thing I do love about Tennessee basketball games, if you do go to Thompson Bowling Arena, as much as I love doing, as much as football is awesome and the atmosphere and stuff, if you go to a Tennessee basketball game, you go up there and you watch the game and you're in and out in like 3 hours and you're back home doing whatever. So it's really beneficial. It's kind of you enjoy the game, and you still have part of the day to enjoy football. It's almost an all-day thing, and I do enjoy it. But it depends on the time of the game, and try to do the ball walking stuff, and of course games usually last 4 hours and stuff. But basketball is just in and out, and I love it. And especially since it's getting darker now. By the way, don't forget to turn back your clocks on Sunday. As we fall back, which honestly, I'm not a big fan of getting dark at 7 o'clock, but it is what it is. I kind of wish we had summer all year round, but I can't control weather climates and the Earth's rotation and stuff like that. But don't forget to fall back on Sunday. And I hope everybody had a nice, happy Halloween over the weekend too. Brian says, let's get some Ball Society fans on video soon. Definitely. Ball Steak says this is definitely a revenge game on Sunday or Saturday. Forgot how to read. Definitely. I'm excited about it. This, like I said, I hope some of the guys from last year's team, obviously we do have guys from last year's team, but hopefully they can remember that bitter taste last year. Like I said, it was just an embarrassing performance. I remember I was actually at work last year and didn't get to go to the game, but I remember that day not doing very well, just getting those updates from from the game, and just wasn't a fun Saturday, but hopefully we'll have a fun Saturday. Any others? It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, hopefully everybody has a wonderful weekend coming up as we get ready to take on Kentucky, number 18 Kentucky, Saturday, 7 o'clock, ESPN2 will broadcast it. It's going to be a blast. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the chats on the comments, watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. Until then, we'll talk to you all next Wednesday night as we will take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Falstake says we will win. Oh, I believe we will. So next Wednesday night, we will preview the Georgia game right here at 8 o'clock on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. But until then, let's go out there and beat Kentucky. And have a great Wednesday night, everybody. And always, go Vols.